All right, welcome to Coffee and Conversation, Smarts by Starbucks and Brightbooks LLC. We are here with Principal McDuffie of A.G. Cox Middle School.
Go Raiders.
Yes, go Raiders, go Raiders. I'm super excited about this conversation because education is key. And of course, we always want to make sure that we're uplifting our educators and we're finding out information on ways that we can better serve our students, as well as make sure our teachers are feeling well to go into the classroom and educate. Principal McDuffie, how are you doing today?
Doing fine.
Wonderful. So for people that don't know Principal McDuffie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, Principal McDuffie is a little country boy from Fayetteville, North Carolina, there in Duplin County.
What?
Yeah, I grew up there on the farm with the chickens, the hogs, and all that stuff. So I know about the smokehouse, the pump house, as well as the outhouse.
Yes.
You know, and kind of like I say, just grew up with a big family. I'm with my grandparents until my mom remarried, and so went down to UNCW in college, and met my wife, and so we've been together 29 years, married for 24.
And that's a blessing. Yes,
you know, that's right.
We always got to celebrate marriage.
Exactly right. They say, "What? Happy wife, happy life."
Oh yeah. I'm glad my husband is here today for sure.
Gotcha.
Now, how did you end up in Pitt County serving as a principal here?
Yeah, well, ideally, after I graduated, I was doing other professions. I was a volunteer basketball coach. My high school principal overheard me said I had a math degree.
Yeah.
He said, "What, McDuffie? I could get you teaching." I said, "What?" You know, because that was my high school teacher, Mr. Thompson. He thought I should be a teacher, and I'm like, man, I ain't messing with that.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another. I started teaching 6th grade math, 2 years of math and science, and I went to the high school where I was coaching as well as teaching math. And after about 4 years or so, I went into administration.
Yeah.
And so from administration, then I was assistant principal, and then came up. I was in Greene County for 2 years before I relocated here about 12 years ago in Pitt County.
I'm so glad that you're here. For people ask me all the time, how do I meet some of the people that I have an opportunity to interview? Principal McDuffie and I met during the pandemic when I was assisting him with keeping kids in school who, you know, were falling through the cracks, unfortunately, due to the barriers of not having the internet, which was important, especially during the pandemic, for staying in class and keeping up with homework and stuff like that. You did a phenomenal job back then, for sure. I'm telling you.
I tell you, that was a tough experience for all educators just across the globe because we had never experienced anything like that before.
Never.
And so we did have to kind of dig deep and try to be creative to find resources and how we can communicate with students, like you said, who just didn't have that internet connection.
I know.
And so that was a big plus with you coming out and kind of making those contacts and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
It really touched me too because I got a chance to mentor kids in a different way. When we're all facing barriers during the pandemic and stuff, and you know, talking to kids and uplifting them during that time, because you know, you just never know what a child is going through. They're seeing so many things on television and social media. Yeah. Like a lot of things have changed for sure.
Yes,
so of course we have back to school next week. Are you excited?
Oh, super excited. We actually had our open house this past Thursday. We had a great turnout with parents coming out and getting to meet their teachers and so forth, touring the school. And then this past Tuesday, Ms. Holloman, one of our assistant principals, we had a 6th grade Raider Day.
What?
Specifically just for the 6th graders. Had about 200 6th graders come out and have a good time meeting their teachers, taking a tour of the school and finding their classes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of kids going into the classroom, what can kids expect when they go into their classroom this year?
Well, actually, we've been preaching the past couple of years since I've been there, experiences and exposure and connect the text.
I know that.
And so when we talk with our teachers, we say, how can you make this math, science, social studies, whatever you're teaching relevant to our students nowadays?
Nice.
And so there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of fun. Again, we're super excited that the kids will be coming back on Monday. And throughout the particular past couple of work days, we've been having conversations about, again, how we can make learning experience fun.
Well, that's always important. Learning should be fun for sure.
It should. It should. It definitely should. And so, you know, I kind of grew up in the era in the 80s when I was going to school. It was a little like blah, you know what I mean? You come, you sit down, you take notes, and you go to your next class. And we can actually kind of reimagine what education can look like, especially after the pandemic.
Yes.
You know, because the kids, they have more distractions now than they did when I was coming up.
I know.
You know, and so what can we do to, you know, to sell your content, as I typically say?
Yeah, kind of like hone in on their little attention spans.
Yes.
Now, Principal McDuffie, like you were mentioning, kids do have an attention span issue a lot of times, especially with cell phones. So what do you want kids to know about those cell phones when they come to A.G. Cox this year?
Well, basically, the cell phone is a device. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and so as I was talking and doing open house, our particular policy, we normally say out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Which means you can can't be on your cell phone. A couple of years ago, we were saying no cell phones, period. But
Yeah.
we do have to evolve.
Yes.
And so ideally, students are allowed to be on their cell phones during lunchtime and class changes. In the classroom, cell phones need to be put up unless they have teacher permission.
Yes.
And so when I was talking with parents this past open house, you know, cell phones as a device is a big computer right there in your hand. You have access to all types of information.
Yes.
And so my thing with the parents is there need to be some type of restrictions or some type of supervision versus just giving a kid a cell phone and turning them loose.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't give the kids a keys to your car and tell them to run to the store and come back. But yet we do give them cell phones and sometimes no restrictions. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
You cannot unsee it
Exactly.
for sure. And kids have an opportunity to see a lot of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, of course, let's talk about the parents. You know, parents every time we send our kids to school, we're always keeping them on our minds and in our prayers and stuff like that. What do you want parents to know, you know, this year when they send their kids back to school?
I just want parents to know that we have an awesome staff and that we are there for the students. And we actually want to form a partnership where we work together. Because basically you hear the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, it does.
And so typically we do have to make sure that the school is communicating with the parents and vice versa. So normally when the student find out that the kid and the parent, the school and the parents are on the same page, things start to tighten right on up.
I love that.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes,
I mean, I don't think parents understand the importance of going to parent-teacher conferences a lot of times and, you know, calling to check up on their kids, because I think that lets the child know they can't go and just play around at school.
You're exactly right. So we have something called Power School, which is a lot of stuff is online. So parents, all they have to do is fill out a little slip, and then they can have an app on their phone, because 99% of people have phones.
They do.
So anytime an assignment pops up or a grade pops up, they get an alert.
What?
And so, yes, and so they could be Johnny on the spot with all the students' information and assignments.
Speaking of technology changes, so I guess we don't have to worry about people hiding their report cards or hiding their progress reports
That is
anymore.
exactly right. Even though we do send an official report card every 9 weeks, but everything is basically online, and the parents can have access to it at any point in time. And if parents do not have the app, all they have to do is have their child log into their Power School, and they can look at it from their child's account. Yeah.
And is this just for your school, or is this all schools?
This is all school, Pitt County. We've been probably doing it online definitely since the pandemic, and kind of been pushing it even more.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So
Awesome.
it's across the district.
So make sure parents, of course, those kids can't hide those grades anymore. Make sure you download Power School, right?
Exactly
President
right.
McDuffie?
Yep.
So they can download that in their Play Store?
Yeah, there's an app that they would go to and sign up. Now, in order to sign up, there is a code because of the FERPA or whatever the case, and privacy that they would have to get from the school.
Oh, okay.
We'll verify some information, give them the code, and when they log in, it'll be their child's information right there on the palm of their hand.
All right.
Yeah.
They're not playing any games.
No, not playing any games.
Now, of course, I was actually in Winterville most recently, actually last night, and I see that your school is actually under some big construction. You're getting some big renovations over there.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So ideally, we're in the process of finishing up a 3.5 construction plan. This past year, we was able to open a 2-story building in back, which has a new media center, a new STEM room, new art room, and that's where our 6th grade classrooms are, and that's been phenomenal. We still getting books in every day, and so we actually been able to open that this past year. And up front, they actually tore down the old wing that was a traditional Winterville High School back in the days before integration. And so they in the process of building our new front office.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and on top of that, we're going to have 77 parking spots.
He said 77 great people. I guess parking has been a big issue over there, huh?
Oh, my goodness. Like during the Watermelon Festival or anything else, we have any events. It's hard to find parking because normally we have to share with the parents. Do not park in front of a mailbox or a driveway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we're going to have 77 parking spots of our own, that's going to be great, because sometimes even our staff have to park over to the Parks and Rec parking lot and then walk to the school.
Wow, that's going to be a big situation. Now, of course, Principal McDuffie, switching gears, of course, you know, there's always conversations about policy and things like that. So I actually wrote this children's book called There Ought to Be a Law. Now, of course, it's teaching youth about how laws are made and why rules are important, which we all have to follow every day. Now, of course, as a principal, what's one thing that you've always thought of that should be a law?
Well, one thing that kind of come to mind as I was thinking about it is being able to get along with people. So I think there should be a class. You laugh, I'm telling you, I say it every day. There should be a class not only for students but also for the adults. That, hey, we have to go through a couple of modules or seminars, and we have to, as I say, play nice in the sandbox.
Right.
We have to learn how to do that. So I think that, if we probably had some type of little module or online class where kids and students, and parents kind of do like a little training so they learn how to get along with people, because we're going to have to do this. We're not going anywhere. There are going to be more people coming on the planet. And we also have to get along with people even when we disagree.
Yes.
That's the biggest part.
Yes, that is a big one, because usually when someone disagrees, it's kind of like you're writing them off for the rest forever.
Yes,
Now, what if God did that to us?
Oh, we'd be in some trouble.
We would be in big trouble for sure.
Yeah.
Now, of course, in the children's book, I, use free ice cream for kids, of course, because everybody loves ice cream.
Yeah.
And, of course, bullying. A lot of kids are always plagued with bullying and stuff like that. How are you combating bullying at your school?
I'm glad you mentioned that. We actually excited this year. In the past, we had done programs like Racial Challenge, which talks about act of kindness and so forth. This upcoming year, we're actually having a session for our students on social media pressures and bullying, September the 12th. During the day, September the 12th. And parent session, September the 12th at 6 p.m.
Nice.
So we're going to do students during the day talking about being kind, the social media particular pressures that students deal with that I didn't have to deal with coming up.
I know.
And so these kids, they grew up in the social media atmosphere. And we're going to be preaching kindness, how to be nice, because part of our AGC, the C stands for considerate. And as I talk with parents, how do we teach kids to be thinking about other people?
Yes.
And part of the conversation I had this past Thursday during open house, students need to realize it's okay to be special, but the world don't revolve around them.
I know. Ooh.
And not only the big people. And so we have to think about other people as well, because it's just part of being kind and being a good person on the planet.
Right, in general. And a lot of people are dealing with so many different issues and stuff like that oftentimes they don't even know that they're bullying when they
Which is true. And so part of the conversation is, what is mean? What does that look like? What does being rude look like? And then what does bullying look like?
Yes.
Because sometimes the word bullying, it get cast on everything whenever technically it may not be considered bullying, but that's the buzzword that a lot of people use.
Yes.
And so sometimes students do know when they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. I'm going to be honest with you. And then the other form of bullying is not always physical like it was when we came up, because sometimes we have cyberbullying.
Yes, that's a big one today.
Actually, that's probably one of the biggest things we deal with, is the fact of people doing screenshots, posting stuff online. Typically, it happens on the weekend, and then it comes to us on Monday, because that's where all 866 students come to.
Yeah.
So we deal with that. We have an awesome counseling staff and our admin team. We kind of, try to mitigate that stuff as soon as possible. We're excited. AmeriCorps, we're actually going to have a counselor intern this year. So that's another person that could kind of help us reach more students, reach more parents.
Yeah. And
we have an SRO, Officer Dober. He's Johnny on the spot as well. And so we try to, try to nip things in the bud before they escalate.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, of course, parents are always trying to find ways to get involved. Can parents actually come volunteer at your school? And what ways can they do that?
We want as many parents as possible. We have an awesome PTO organization. We just had our last meeting, I think it was last Tuesday. Typically, they meet once a week. Parents, they can volunteer anytime they have.
Nice.
It's not necessarily, a certain amount of time. Anytime you have. And like this past Thursday, they was doing our AG called Spirit Gear, recruiting people to join our PTO and so forth. And they have a hospitality committee, a Spirit Night committee, which September, I want to say 19th, is going to be at Chipotle, where part of the proceeds come back to the PTO, and PTO does a lot of cool stuff for our staff and our students.
Yes. Now, being that I'm a parent, and I'm actually going to be all involved in that a few years from now, but I'm looking forward to it,
Yes.
And of course, education is, stressful. There are so many different facets to education. How are you planning on keeping the morale up with your staff? Because you have a lot of people that you have to also supervise as well.
Yes, ma'am. And so ideally, my theory is, being a former high school coach, is I coach the adults as well, because I truly believe if the adults are where they need to be, the students will be fine.
Right.
And so we do have to put some emphasis of taking care of the adults in the building, their mental health, and taking time out for themselves, and actually coaching them up, providing professional development so they could be in a better place, because ideally that does translate into the classroom.
Yes.
One thing at AG Cox, I do believe in trying to give as many perks as possible to our staff.
All right.
This past year we had a nice Moore's eating when we finished up open house, and it was awesome, just almost like a picnic. The AG Cox staff in the cafeteria, and we did fellowshipping and so forth, and we tried to build that team atmosphere. For the most part, and I think we're doing some good stuff as well as moving forward.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, of course, teacher shortages is plaguing every school around the state. What can teachers look forward to if they come to work with you?
Well, actually, one of the questions I normally ask teachers is, what type of school are you looking for? What type of environment? That's one of the questions, because we do believe in trying to offer help as much as possible, and on top of that, be willing to be helped. So we talk about, we better together, but we try to actually put it in action versus just words. And one thing I will say is that you're going to have people checking on you on the regular. We have one new applicant coming to us, also math teacher, and she just wanted somebody that would talk to her on the regular, because I guess her previous situation wasn't the case. And I mean, she just tickled to death now that she's at an environment with AG Cox, because everybody checking on her and she's having conversations on the regular.
Well, family is important, and sometimes family isn't always the people that you're related to. It could be your staff members.
Which is true. Exactly.
And it seems like you're cultivating a really great system over there, family and people that are getting along and doing it for the kids and education.
Yeah, and all of us together, like I said, I have a great admin team. Miss Brantley, Miss Holloman, our assistant principals, counseling staff, support staff, or whatever, as well as just the teaching staff in general.
Yeah.
I do think over time we have built this culture to the point where everybody do try to look out for each other, and we have a lot of fun doing sports. We talk a lot of junk about the Duke, the Carolina, the States, and the Cowboys and the Steelers. I mean, and that kind of just helped the atmosphere in general.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, Principal McDuffie, you're so wise, of course.
Oh, Lord.
Now, students are always surprising their teachers or bringing little things like that. What does Principal McDuffie like to do for fun?
Well, ideally, I like to read and so forth, like a lot of self-help books, a lot of educational stuff. And then I actually, like going to the gym and work out. That's like my little me time.
Yeah.
Put my little earbuds in, listen to my music, kind of zone in. And I'm all about, I'm actually in the car audio, subwoofers, loud bass that shakes the building and all of that. Yes, I love music.
Don't tell me you were one of those people back in the days riding around with your big bass in the car. Like they hear you coming before they see you, basically.
I got it out there in the parking lot right now. I ain't gonna lie.
I love it. Also, Principal Duffy, you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. I just appreciate you having this opportunity, to talk with educators and kind of see what's going on, because ideally we normally tell parents, hey, come out and check it out for yourself. Don't believe all the hype you see on the social media platform.
Yes. Yeah, because, sometimes social media can have people thinking things that are not really true. So that way you have to really go and check the facts for yourself. I appreciate you sitting down with me. Like, seriously, I wish you so much success with school and everything that you're doing in your personal endeavors. Yeah. Great people. If you're thinking about moving to Pitt County, North Carolina, you definitely need to consider maybe your child attending AG Cox, or if you were a teacher or educator, consider working at AG Cox. They need you, the kids need you, and the community needs you.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I'm hoping to see you around sometime real soon. And of course, I'm hoping to see you too. Stay in contact with us by visiting www.brightbooks.org, or you can follow us on all social media outlets at Bright Books Club. Of course, we thank our sponsors here at Starbucks for being so phenomenal and offering all these resources. Teachers were able to receive free coffee today, coffee travelers that they can come back and redeem for another time, as well as free bags of coffee. So it's been a blessed opportunity. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys real soon. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders. Yeah. Peace.